Hillary Clinton says she is going to have a super PAC, says she has to do it. She doesn't like it, but she has to do it to compete. What about that?
I understand where she's coming from. I will not have a super PAC. I don't think we're going to outspend Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush or anybody else. But I think we are going to raise the kinds of money that we need to run a strong and winning campaign.
And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. That was, of course, Curb Your Enthusiasm star Larry David. Whoa, okay. That was really Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders on Face the Nation. I mean, you got to think that Larry David would play him in a movie, right?
Right.
Heartbeat.
No doubt.
Anyway, Bernie Sanders, he was on Face the Nation, trying to separate himself from his only competition at the moment in the 2016 Democratic nomination, or for it, that is Hillary Clinton. The self-proclaimed independent socialist may be Mrs. Clinton's only official competition in the Democratic Party, but the GOP has plenty of contenders ready to take her on, like 70. One of them is Carly Fiorina, former Hewlett-Packard CEO, and she's setting herself apart from the often reclusive former Secretary of State by answering pretty much every question that comes her way. That's in stark contrast of Mrs. Clinton, who has shunned the press since announcing her run for president last month. Frank Sadler, Mrs. Fiorina's campaign manager, reported that she has answered 322 on-the-record questions in 8 days as a candidate while hitting up every TV show imaginable, from Meet the Press to Kathy Lee and Hoda, who were actually sober for this particular show on the Today Show, to Late Night with Seth Meyers. And she plans to continue to talk openly with media as campaign season continues. According to Sadler, Mrs. Clinton has answered a grand total of 8 questions since announcing her candidacy 28 days ago. It's clear that Hillary seems to be the one to beat right now, yes. But will these superficial attempts at setting themselves apart from the Clintons do much to help their own campaigns, or they should be focusing more on their policy ideas? Ms. Hanson.
I think they are focusing on their policy ideas. The thing that has impressed me with Carly, and you know I'm a Carly fan in some ways, she's actually come forth with some policy ideas, you know, especially when it comes to foreign policy where no one else has. She's talked about rebuilding the Sixth Fleet. She's talked about doing military exercises in the Baltics. She has real ideas. You can agree with them or not agree with them, but at least she's coming forward with things. The same way, I do have to say, for Bernie Sanders, he has come forward with real ideas. He too is talking about the Supreme Court and how his litmus test would be Citizens United. If people would overturn that, they would be his appointees. He's talked about climate change. He's talked about no Keystone Pipeline. Again, real ideas. You then can differentiate them with Hillary in 2 ways. They're answering questions. She's not. And they're giving real policy ideas. And I have always said that the ideas that she's come forward with have been the easy stuff, the easy pickings.
So what is your thought on the strategy? I know we've talked about it before, but are you just a little bit shocked that we're now 4 weeks in and she hasn't done an interview in any major capacity?
Well, let me, if I may, start with Bernie Sanders, and then I will answer that.
Larry David or
Bernie
Sanders?
Bernie, I love you, baby. But let's face it, the reason you're not taking any PAC money, there's no rich people who are going to give you any PAC money. That's the reality of it. So it's a kind of an easy moral decision to make when you're not getting any PAC money. That aside, I got to say this about the Hillary-Carly thing. It's a really simple answer to the question. Carly has to answer the questions because nobody knows who she is. Hillary doesn't have to answer. Now, I wish that Hillary would answer more. I'm not saying otherwise. But she doesn't have to answer any more questions. I got to tell you, even my conservative pals out there who are not the biggest fans of Hillary, everybody pretty much agrees that Hillary had a much better week last week than she had in the preceding couple of weeks. Because she started coming out with some policy statements. Like them or hate them, she started telling you where she stands. Hillary should have some press time. I do agree with that. But Carly, you just aren't going to catch up to Hillary.
Do you think there'll be a rust factor when Hillary finally does sit down with somebody halfway decent as an interviewer? And the questions are thrown at her and then suddenly she's not on the listening tour and doing the I mean, I wonder if that first interview is going to go as poorly as it did with Diane Sawyer in the book tour and when she said she was dead broke.
I don't know, but she needs to, and obviously she should be advised
heavily.
Needs.
Does she need to? Because
no, actually, I correct that. She
lead.
doesn't need to, but she should.
I think the rust
and the thing is the difference with her and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton faced so much in terms of allegations thrown at him by his opponents, by the press, during his presidency, during his re-election, and so forth. One of the reasons he was able to overcome that, people believed that he cared about them. People believed that he understood their problems. I don't think people believe that about Hillary, that she is one of them. And until she can convey that, that's a big thing for her to overcome.
I think that that's true. And to add to that, talk about the rust factor. Look at his interview on the Today Show and how you've
rusty he was.
He was
yeah.
right. So he had a rust factor,
Yes,
and he's
yes.
much better at it than she is.
Yeah, I think
do
the
think
rust
she's
isn't
have,
the issue. The issue is she's not very good at
She's
answering
not
the
very,
question.
which is why
That's
she
the
doesn't
problem.
want to do
Right.
it.
Not
But
so much rust.
She has
but
to.
Where she's
Sooner or
at her
later,
best
right.
is where he tends to be at his best, last week aside, when she's under attack. She is used to that.
Yes.
Right, and then she gets fiery like she
She
did.
knows
to
how to
Hampton.
deal with that.
Exactly. Well, coming up next, it's potluck time, and tonight they're matching, and it's for a reason, because they will be sharing their favorite stories of the day. This is the Daily Wrap. Do not go anywhere.